The gospel world has been shaken to its core. At just 42, Andria Johnson has finally broken her silence. And what she revealed about Jonathan McReynolds is beyond anything fans ever imagined. The confession is raw, unfiltered, and so explosive that it's tearing the gospel community apart. For years, whispers and rumors swirled, but now the truth is out, and it's sending shockwaves across social media. Stay tuned, because what Andria just admitted could change everything you thought you knew about these two gospel icons forever. For years, gospel fans have admired the rise of Andria Johnson and Jonathan McReynolds, two voices celebrated not just for their music, but for their honesty, authenticity, and spiritual influence. To many, they seemed untouchable, destined to represent the very best of gospel music. But behind the awards and admiration, something else was brewing. Quiet tensions, unspoken truths, and secrets that were never meant to see the light of day. Until now, at 42, Andria finally decided she could no longer stay silent. And what she revealed has shaken the entire gospel world. Her confession wasn't just personal, it was raw, emotional, and deeply controversial. She spoke on relationships, hidden ministry struggles, and the challenges that come with living under constant public scrutiny. The moment her words hit the internet, reactions exploded. Jonathan's name was suddenly in every headline. Fans, pastors, and fellow artists weighed in, divided between shock, support, and disbelief. In this video, we're breaking it all down: what exactly Andria exposed, how Jonathan responded, the ripple effect across the gospel community, and why this revelation is bigger than one moment. By the end, you'll understand not only the details of this shocking confession, but also what it means for faith, fame, and the future of gospel music. Through their ministry work, songs, and voices, both have inspired millions of people. However, there have been occasions when their paths have crossed in ways that have stoked rumors, interest, and occasionally conflict, as well as early careers and growing notoriety. With a soulful sound that won over hearts all throughout the country, Andria Johnson emerged as a powerful vocalist. She immediately gained widespread recognition in the gospel world, from her early days in church choirs to her victories in significant gospel contests. She gained recognition and a devoted following because to her genuineness and emotive delivery. In contrast, Jonathan McReynolds is renowned for his profound spiritual understanding, sultry vocals, and thought-provoking lyrics. As a gospel storyteller, he has established a reputation for being genuine and relatable while tackling contemporary religious issues. His sensitivity in each song is what makes his music so compelling, not simply his skill. First, interactions with the public. Andria and Jonathan's interactions were initially observed by fans during combined performances, award shows, and collaboration events. Despite the fact that these interactions were professional, viewers frequently made observations on nuanced conflicts and intricate relationships. Some conjectured that the two had similar creative styles, while others questioned whether there were more profound spiritual or personal conflicts at the heart of the rumors and conjecture. Rumors spread throughout gospel communities and on social media over the years. Some mentioned conflict resulting from ministerial approaches, industrial decisions, or even personal disputes. Every social media post, every performance, and every comment was contested by fans who pieced together a story that occasionally depended more on conjecture than confirmed facts. However, both artists publicly presented a professional front in spite of rumors. To date, there have been few direct confrontations or statements addressing these rumors, and they seem courteous and friendly. Contextualizing the revelation. Knowing this background is essential because it helps explain the significance of Andria Johnson's recent revelation of Jonathan McReynolds. This competition is not new. It's the result of years of communication, influence from one another, and the revelation of hidden realities. Fans aren't the only ones who are shocked by her admission. Long-held beliefs about gospel musicians, their relationships, and the complexity of the lives behind the music are all called into question. Cliffhanger. This is when it becomes intense though. Even though the public may have merely witnessed cordial exchanges over the years, Andria's eventual revelation of the truth goes well beyond anything anyone could have predicted. It deals on emotional truths that have up to now been kept buried, ministry difficulties, and personal experiences. We'll delve into Section 2, the revelation, in the following section. Leandria Johnson's revelations regarding Jonathan McReynolds, an examination of the startling facts, fan reactions, and the reasons this revelation is upsetting the gospel community. Following years of conjecture, fans were taken aback when Leandria Johnson came forward with information about Jonathan McReynolds that had previously been kept secret. In addition to what was said, the date, the setting, and the repercussions it has had on the gospel music community make this revelation startling. The background to the disclosure. Leandria Johnson didn't talk without thinking. According to others close to her, this was a well-thought-out choice, motivated by years of unresolved conflict and individual experiences. She had seen, experienced, and thought about Jonathan McReynolds' incidents over the years that she believed the world should know about. This came to light during an open interview in which Johnson discussed her profession, personal challenges, and experiences navigating the gospel industry. The ferocity of her tone was immediately apparent to her fans. This was no ordinary tale. It was simultaneously a revelation, a warning, and a confession. The exposure's main points. The main points of Johnson's statements, as well as artistic and ministry conflicts, have been reported by a number of outlets. However, not all the details have been officially verified. Leandria disclosed that there had been persistent conflicts over public messaging, partnerships, and ministerial choices. She argued that these disputes affected mutual respect and personal trust in ways that went beyond typical professional disagreements. Accusations of personal conduct, claims regarding her personal behavior behind the scenes that went against the public persona Jonathan McReynolds had built were among the most startling parts of her disclosure. Even if she didn't reveal every detail on camera, her remarks were sufficient to spark debate and worry on social media, having an emotional and spiritual impact. Johnson underlined how these encounters had negatively impacted her mental and spiritual health. She clarified that dealing with these difficulties in the spotlight led to tension, anxiety, and painful moments, experiences that many of her admirers were unaware she had gone through. For years, supporters were taken aback. Both musicians' openness, faith, and commitment to ministry have won them admiration from fans. Many were taken aback when Leandria finally spoke out about Jonathan McReynolds, upending the image of unity that had been upheld throughout public appearances. Almost immediately, social media exploded. Many praised Leandria's bravery for expressing her truth and offered their support. Others defended Jonathan, casting doubt on the veracity and timeliness of her assertions. A sizable section of the gospel community participated in intense discussion, dissecting posts, videos, and interviews to ascertain the veracity of the claims. The confluence of curiosity, doubt, and support made it inevitable that this revelation would take center stage in discussions for weeks. The weight of emotion. This was more than a tale of small arguments or professional disagreements. There was a lot of emotional and spiritual weight to Johnson's discovery. By expressing her viewpoint, she revealed conflicts as well as the personal expenses of upholding loyalty and professionalism in the face of criticism. The severity of the disclosure provoked debate and empathy, and fans could feel the sorrow behind her remarks. Her suffering struck a chord with many viewers, who saw in her story a mirror of difficulties they had encountered in friendships, spiritual organizations, or workplaces. Cliffhanger. This is where the surprise became much more shocking, though. Johnson alluded to other realities and repercussions that were not yet known to the public. According to her, these problems might affect future ministry choices, teamwork, and even Jonathan McReynolds' public image development. We'll examine how the gospel community reacted, what conversations went viral, and how this revelation is influencing the narrative around Leandria Johnson and Jonathan McReynolds in Section 3, Fan Reactions and Social Media Fallout, which is covered in the next section. The gospel world and social media erupted as soon as Leandria Johnson's disclosure regarding Jonathan McReynolds was made public. In a matter of hours, the controversy's hashtags became popular. Online discussions were dominated by arguments concerning faith, honesty, and celebrity accountability, while fans expressed their shock and amazement. Instantaneous reactions from fans. There were three main reactions from the fans. Those that support Leandria Johnson. Many admirers commended her boldness, emphasizing how courageous it is to talk candidly about one's own experiences in a society where transparency is sometimes subordinated to public image. Twitter and Instagram comments read, "What she just said requires a lot of courage. For years, Leandria has been patient. At last, there's a truthful voice. Although we had some suspicions, it's enlightening to hear everything from her point of view. Jonathan McReynolds supporters. Some fans were dubious, supporting Jonathan and casting doubt on the veracity, timing, or purpose of Leandria's claims. "We don't know the whole story," was one of the social media posts. "Before passing judgment, let's wait. Jonathan has performed admirably. This seems like needless drama. I hope this doesn't unjustly damage his ministry." Impartial analysts and observers. A lot of customers only want to get the entire situation. They created threads and compilations of video reactions that went viral by breaking down footage, interviews, and social media posts to provide a comprehensive picture. Online chatter and hashtags that go viral. The disclosure significantly increased the number of trending topics on all platforms. Within hours, fans shared criticism, reaction videos, and interview snippets, garnering millions of views. As younger viewers interacted with the debate, TikTok reaction videos proliferated, and older gospel fans shared lengthy essays examining the consequences for the careers of both performers. Media coverage. The story was swiftly taken up by entertainment news platforms and gospel-focused media sources. Although the headlines varied, most emphasized how unexpected the news was and how it could change public opinion. Leandria Johnson loses it. Keep quiet about Jonathan McReynolds. Supporters respond. After Johnson confirmed long-standing rumors, the gospel community was shocked. The past of Leandria and Jonathan that we were unaware of was revealed. Through a feedback loop where fans, the media, and pundits continuously supported the narrative, this media coverage increased the buzz on social media. Spiritual and emotional discussions that go beyond speculation and drama. Additionally, the revelations spurred more in-depth discussions, ministry, and accountability. Followers discussed how gospel leaders ought to resolve disputes, personal grievances, and conflicts. Vulnerability and faith. Some admirers identified with Johnson's bravery and candor, viewing it as a lesson in upholding moral character and openness in the face of public scrutiny. As they navigated public scrutiny, spectators considered the demands of ministry, celebrity, and handling personal matters in a public setting. These talks went beyond specific musicians and sparked debates on the human side of ministry, celebrity accountability, and gospel leadership. According to Fallout sources, the news has caused a stir in the gospel music business behind the scenes. As a result, partnerships, upcoming ministry activities, and business partnerships might be reassessed. Leandria and Jonathan have not publicly acknowledged all of the repercussions, but there is a lot of conjecture over how this might impact collaborative performances, award shows, and tours. This is more than just a personal issue, as seen by the revelation's emotional depth and the overwhelmingly positive fan reaction. It affects everyone in the gospel community. Cliffhanger. Fans have been waiting for this part though. Insiders suggest that there are more developments going on behind the scenes, even if the first discovery has gone viral. Not yet publicized are messages, responses, and potential reconciliations. These might change how people view Jonathan McReynolds and Leandria Johnson, which could change the course of this ongoing story. Influence on the perception of fans. Fans' perceptions of Leandria and Jonathan were drastically altered by the discovery. Although Johnson received praise for her bravery and honesty, Jonathan is now the subject of criticism that calls into question his previously flawless public image. There are disagreements among fans. While some people are more critical, expressing disappointment or doubting transparency, others continue to support both artists, highlighting the fact that human frailty does not lessen spiritual impact. Social media is still overflowing with debate threads, reaction videos, and opinion postings that examine every conceivable viewpoint in the ministry. Ramifications for the industry. The gospel music business depends on connections, teamwork, and public opinion to succeed. Collaborations may be impacted by this discovery. As both musicians deal with the aftermath, some insiders speculate that future ministry events, tours, or collaborative performances would be re-evaluated. For ministry officials, establishing a credible public image is essential. Although McReynolds might need to allay fan fears in order to maintain trust, Johnson's candor might enhance her reputation as genuine and brave. How both manage the ongoing narrative may have an impact on industry alliances, mentorships, professional relationships, and behind-the-scenes collaborations. Spiritual and emotional teachings. Beyond the drama, This incident highlights significant spiritual lessons for the gospel community at large as well as artists. Ministry vulnerability. Johnson's bravery serves as a reminder of the value of openness even when confronting realities put the public at risk. Managing disagreements amicably. The scenario serves as an example of the fine line that must be drawn between candor and tact in both religious and professional contexts. Accountability to the public. Faith community leaders are reminded that private disputes can turn into public debates and that it is crucial to handle them appropriately. Andria and Jonathan's responses. Both artists have taken action to control the problem since the revelation. Andria has thanked people for their support, but she has insisted that her intention was to speak honestly and not to do harm. Jonathan McReynolds has maintained composure, handling the problems delicately and concentrating on ministry priorities, placing a strong emphasis on growth, forgiveness, and faith. Although fans continue to conjecture about what private discussions and reconciliations might be taking on behind the scenes, their management of the aftermath demonstrates professionalism and spiritual understanding. The gospel community's knock-on impact. In the gospel community, this insight has spurred more extensive conversations. How public image and sincerity are balanced by ministry officials. The psychological toll that criticism and celebrity have on gospel performers. The significance of accountability and openness in religious leadership. This is obviously not just a personal tale. It now serves as a focal point for discussions about human complexity, integrity, and vulnerability in gospel.